Okay, folks, we're right back with you. And we're touching on Ed Forrester's interesting life he's led right here in this very town called Ellijay. That's with a J. And Ed, way back in the days, I don't know about you, but I come up pretty poor. We'd sit around on the porch and play banjos, guitars, whatever we had, and played with everybody across the country. I think you played a lot with Tim Parker and Vic Davis and a bunch of people. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was Tim Parker and Morgan Cantrell. I had the Frosty Mountain Boys.
Yes, sir.
And but when I went to school, Vic and Larry Davis was playing, and Clarence Mailer, Tommy Duckett,
Yeah.
Willie Aaron. There's a bunch of them played music, and I just tried to learn everything I could from them, you know.
Yeah.
Then got me an old guitar and started learning the chords and all that. That showed me stuff. That's the way I learned.
Gosh, yeah, that's a bunch of good players. And Jones, ever when you were back young, did you ever go out and light up a fire and maybe bring a chicken and roast it and have music playing and have a fire going and then roasting chicken and the people the old boys that buck dance around the fire? Do you ever do anything like that?
We never did. There wasn't that many people up in there where I was.
Boy, we did. You go the next morning, there'd be a ring wore out around where the fire was, where them boys would be buck dancing. We played Down Yonder and the Wildwood Flower and Rosewood Casket and Under the Double Eagle and all that. But you played with some pretty up-to-do people too, or played around them and got to know them. Tell us about some of that.
Well, after I went to the Louisiana Hayride, I met with this old boy named Johnny C. And he lived down there. When I was working at Newton Cigar, they put me out as a salesman after I drove a truck a while. And the Arctic Bear down there was a little ice cream place that Johnny's grandmother run it. And I always kept a guitar or fiddle or something in the car. And she said, "Do you play music?" I said, "I'm trying a while."
Yeah.
She said, "My grandson's getting into music, needs a bass player. You know a bass player?" I said, "Yeah, me." And so I started playing bass for him, and Jimmy Atkins, Chet Atkins' nephew, played guitar, and we went down to the East Point City Auditorium. They had the Georgia Jubilee down there. And so we entered that contest. We won it from beginning to the end and got the money and the record contract, and then they started booking us, you know. They booked us in Savannah, Georgia. And Jimmy told us that, "Better get you a guitar picker." I said, I ain't going nowhere. And so we couldn't find a guitar picker to do what we wanted. And I said, "We can find a bass player easier than we find a guitar picker." So what are we gonna do for a guitar picker? I said, "I'll play it myself." He said, "Can you play guitar?" I said, "No, but I can get by till I can learn."
Like my daddy used to say, "I've got to."
Yeah. So then we went to the hayride, and we played lots of places from there.
Yeah.
And played several places in Texas, you know.
Gosh, yeah.
And then when I come back, I had that trucking company here, and so I decided I might better look after that.
Yeah.
So I come back, so I got to playing with WPLO Swinging Gentleman Band down there, and I got to play for a lot of people when I played with them.
Shoot, yeah. Interesting, very interesting. Now there was a point somewhere, it might have been like me when you was very young, you had an interest in cars, automobiles.
Yeah, I got a few.
Yeah. Yeah, don't we?
Yeah.
You got the truck your daddy had when he bought it new, didn't you say?
Yeah, he bought it new. He carried the mail back then, so he carried the mail in that truck. And Well, he bought the first pickup that Dover Chevrolet here sold, and he got it in December of '45.
Yeah.
It was a '46 Chevrolet, and I started driving that thing. I wasn't but 8 or 9 years old,
Yeah.
or something like that, but I was driving at 7. My brother,
Yeah.
oldest brother, he had 34 Fords and stuff like that, so I've been driving ever since I was 7-year-old.
Yeah, now you got a lot of interesting cars over there, but I think my favorite car that you have is probably this 51 Ford, what is it, F-100?
Yeah,
That your daddy had.
yeah, as a,
And he had it all his life, and you got it when he died, and boy, you've maintained it very well. It's in excellent shape right now. I love that car. What's your favorite car that you have, Ed?
well, I'd say it'd either be that pickup or that Hudson that been Bud Nichols built.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like picking out which one of your favorite kids is.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of nice cars, and that Hudson is nice.
I've got a bunch of Ford products.
Yeah.
I've got 3 pickups that we bought new. Daddy
Right.
bought one, I bought 2. I've still got all of them, and I got my brother-in-law brought a '50 Ford Club Coupe back from California in 1952.
Yeah.
And he raised his family and let me have it. And I
Yeah.
done it back like Ford and put it out.
That's right, and the cars you have restored a bunch of them, and you done it yourself. You and Bud Nichols
Yeah,
done all of the restoration, didn't you?
yeah. I've
You
got
even painted the car.